Welcome back, or welcome to Beer Grilled Skinny, where a mother-daughter team embraces the random. I had a new thought about the word skinny. Some of you younger people might not know the definition of this, but back in the day, skinny meant getting the info on someone. You'd be like, give me the skinny on so-and-so. It was another word for gossip. I'm just going to keep emphasizing that we are not talking about bodies and what they look like or shaming anyone. The random happened from the Echo device that we own, not understanding what we were trying to say for shopping. Now, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about music. Mom, what is your first major memory of music?
I probably will say that it was church, because Dad played the radio late at night, and I maybe would hear some country music, but I have to say that it was church.
Well, in my case, somewhere along the way, you really got into music, and you collected a bunch of albums. And I was particularly fascinated with the classical albums. At the age of 5, my first memory of music at the age of 5 is turning on Bach and then writing a whole story in my head and using this beautiful orange afghan that you crocheted as my cape. And I was a princess.
I remember that.
Being rescued.
Yeah.
It was all about being rescued
In
back
Decatur.
then I learned how to rescue myself, but that's a different story.
That is.
But that's when I fell in love with music. And over time, I discovered things like music helps you with math skills.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't?
Nuh-uh.
But it's got to be a specific type of music. This stuff we got on the radio today, the 4-chord songs, that's not going to help you with math at all. That's just going to get stuck in your head until you wish to die.
Well, when you're talking about music, I've been curious enough to try to go back and see the beginning of music.
Mm-hmm.
So the human being just fascinates me in that respect, because music has so much power. I mean, it really does. When they learn to add it to film, and when you end up doing something bad because you're at a bar and the music is good and you're honky tonking with a fella, and
I'm not sure I'd blame the music for that, but nice try.
I do, even now.
I'm going to say the liquor, but, whatever.
No, it's the music.
Well,
Anyhow.
I know sometimes I hear music, and depending on the song, I will go and just get all affectionate with my husband, and he has no idea why.
Interesting. So it's not just...
Right, because I'm not drinking at the time, but I'll hear certain songs that just remind me how much I love him. And so I'll just go in there, and he'll be like, what are you doing? I'm trying to watch a thing. And then I get all friendly, and he's like, oh, okay.
I don't know what it is. I love to listen to Duke Ellington. And there's only one song in there that really references sex, and there are no words. It's just, I just know the words about making whoopee. And that's fascinated me. I need to look that up and see how that phrase became about lovemaking.
Whoopee! That'd be my guess.
Yeah, except, the way the jazzy guys put it in there, it was almost like the same kind of dancing you do in a honky-tonk to get
I
you going
kind of
the wrong
feel like
way.
it's the same thing that we go through now with forums like Facebook or YouTube, where you can't say certain words. So I'll see people reference SA instead of calling it the R word, and now we have to name every word by the first letter because they're afraid of bothering people. And I think it stems from obscenity laws.
Oh.
We used to all have an agreed thing about obscenity. Oh, this community finds it obscene if you walk around with your shirt off and you're a woman. Or we find it obscene if you say these words in public, like the curse words. And it's just sort of spread.
Like Aunt Ruby getting arrested for wearing short shorts down Main Street. It was okay if it was in the movies, but don't be bringing that downtown.
I don't know if that was because it was downtown or because it was in a rural area. And again, we're back to the obscenity thing.
Yeah.
What the community agrees on is obscene. Now, that has changed because we have all these online communities and no one can agree on anything.
Oh, I know.
So someone will say, Oh, if you talk about killing someone and you use the M word, it's going to trigger people. So don't use that because, and the reason they do it on YouTube, YouTube's what I reference because I spend a lot of time watching YouTube, and they have learned, the content creators have learned that if they reference certain words without like hiding it, calling it, the M word, the R word, the various words, like the D word, they'll get demonetized.
Is the D word you referring to a man's name?
No, I'm referring to something that you take from a pharmaceutical company, but you didn't get it from a pharmaceutical company.
Oh, okay. All right. Got that straight now. Yeah, and I think about sometimes when I listen to music from other countries, which of course my roots, my family being Scots, Irish, and German.
Let's be more specific. Your roots are Appalachia.
Well, here on
Your father danced with Johnny Cash's wife.
No, with Johnny Cash's wife's mother.
Okay, but the point is, that's the kind of country we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be clear on that.
Yeah. Anyhow, got a little bit sophisticated when we went out to L.A. Just so y'all know, I am country, but I'm also a little bit sophisticated. I guess I'm proud.
Well, I'll never forget when we watched that show, La Femme Nikita.
Oh, I love that.
And that turned us,
show.
The music, though, in that totally turned us on to that European rock style, I can't remember what they call it, maybe Euro trash or something like that. It's just got a vibe to it. And then I was hunting for it, and so I collected a bunch of that kind of music because I just love that laid back vibe.
Yeah.
I get in different moods for music, and that's the other interesting thing with me. Like, sometimes I'll be in the car and I'll be like, let's listen to some country. And then I'll sit there and go, this would go good on this show. Or, let's listen to some rock. I especially love rock from the 80s and 90s. So.
Yeah, and what's that one that's called Dragons, the group?
Imagine Dragons.
They're like magic. They really are. And I get so fascinated.
Which is unusual in this day and age. You find certain bands do rise to the top. And I get that not everyone listening to this is going to agree with us on our choices, but the market tends to agree with what we have chosen. Because Imagine Dragons is huge.
I know. And so good.
And don't be mad at them because of their politics. Who cares?
And I can flip over to Anya.
Anya?
Everybody loves
We don't have an Anya. Anya was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
Beer Grilled Skinny.
Sorry. No, yeah, Enya.
Mm-hmm.
And
she was. I remember when I was a teenager, and this was in the 80s, and the churches would say you can't listen to certain music, certain secular music, because it somehow glorified Satan.
Yeah.
And we weren't left to our own devices on that, so they'd have their little record burning events. And so I would listen to Enya and feel really guilty because I was like, I know this music. But they told me it was New Age, and New Age was bad. I still don't actually know what New Age means.
I don't either.
To be perfectly honest.
I'm sure there's some kind of, And it's kind of like how now we put people in segments of Generation X and Generation Z.
And I think right now we're on Gen Alpha.
Okay.
Can't wait to see what that produces.
Well, then there's then it's going to be Gen Beta, which means, you're not quite as good as Gen Alpha, because Alpha's the best,
Unless you're talking about shifters, in which case betas are just as good. Sometimes they just don't want to lead.
Yeah, true. That's true.
I hope we don't raise a generation of non-leaders, though, so Who's naming these generations, by the way? Well, I feel like we should do a poll of whoever's in so the generations are all led by a 15-year segment. Every 15 years we call it a new generation, which I find kind of weird myself, but that's what we're doing right now. And I would like them to start polling the current generation and go, what do you think your generation should be called? Instead of just some rando scientist somewhere going, we're going to call you, we're done with Generation Z, so now it's going to be Generation Alpha.
Yeah.
I guess because they don't want to call them Generation A.
I know. I know. And eventually it'll probably just be a numbering system.
Possibly. I mean, let's get back to our first episode where we talked about the development of technology, and you used to have
Yeah.
a party line and you only dialed 5 numbers.
Yeah.
And now we all have 9-digit numbers. So there's that.
So and relating to the music, go back to who had the wisdom to create a piano. And then after creating it to make music come from it, music that would move hundreds of thousands of people.
All
There's
of the
something
instruments
so
are like that.
true, but I just thought of that.
I
Well, I
know,
don't
you
know,
look-
drums or drones.
No, drums are not just drums. There are different kind of drums. You can do like a whole thing with just drums. Think about movies like Indiana Jones when they're getting ready to do something to him, and you go in and this guy's like banging on this big drum,
True, yeah.
and you're feeling the beat. The same thing is true with the islands. There's a lot of drumming where that
True.
is the entire music. Then you have the drums with rock and roll people, and
Yeah.
then you have the boring drums in country music. I remember I had an uncle who got very sick of country music because all he ever got to do was play 4 beats on his drums.
Yeah.
So
That was
no, there's
Perry, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. There's a lot to drums. Don't knock the drums.
Okay.
One of my, I told you my first experience with music. The next one, because I fell in love with music, I mean, at the age of 4, I thought I wanted to be a singer and run around the country and be a singer. I didn't know what all went into that, and I got very discouraged by my father, so I didn't really go down that path. But I did continue to enjoy music, and I joined the chorus at school. And also, I was like 8, and we did this play, and I had a solo, actually a duet, but, you know, there were parts where it was just me singing. And that night was so amazing. There was just something about singing the music. And so I was 8, he was 9, and this stupid teacher said, and he's going to kiss you at the end of the duet. And so backstage, I said, because he looked nervous, and I didn't blame him, and I said, what if you just bowed and took my hand and gave me a kiss on the hand like they used to do back in the day? And he loved that idea. We didn't want to kiss. We're children.
Yeah, I know.
And so we did the song, he did the thing,
Yeah.
and then the whole audience gave us a standing ovation.
Yes.
It was
Yes,
wonderful.
it was.
And we didn't get permission first, because I'm all about asking forgiveness, not permission. I wonder who I learned that from.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes the world moves forward when you don't ask for permission.
I agree. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
We all have to use our own judgment.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's like when I wanted to go, like to Grady Hospital, and see somebody, and I didn't have a right to be in the area that I was in. I could just put my lab coat on, and people would not even think about stopping me.
Yes, and that's why we have rules today that require people to have IDs, because I know you're not the only one who got that idea, and I think that might be how some kids disappeared, to be perfectly honest. I
Could be,
understand what
yeah.
you did,
Yeah.
and I don't have a problem with it. You just wanted to visit someone. But other people get these nefarious ideas, and it doesn't always end so well. But I'll never forget, now that you're bringing this up, that show we used to watch, Leverage. Okay,
Oh.
so to give you reference, we loved the show ER when I was growing up, and it starred this fellow named Noah Wiley. And now he's also starring on a show called Leverage, and they did an homage where he goes into a hospital, grabs a lab coat, starts walking around, and starts throwing out all these medical terms, and all the other people on his team, so he has a radio in his ear, and all the other people on his team are like, where did you learn all that? And he's like, from television. It was a great scene.
Yes.
What are some other musical experiences you've had? Because I can bring up one that just popped into my head while I asked you this question. So I'll just cut you off before you even start talking. I will never forget when I went on a missions trip in Austria, and we got to go to an open-air theater in Vienna and have symphony music played for us for free. The people I was with were kind of ridiculous and embarrassing, but the music was magnificent.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was
Yeah.
getting a taste of history.
for me, music, I followed in my brother's footsteps in a lot of ways, and he got to high school before I did, and he got in the Glee Club. And so we would like.
You actually had a thing called the Glee Club?
Yes. And I can remember a time when we went talk about breaking the rules. Whenever all the guys were supposed to be, in a white shirt with a tie, and here's my brother up there with the big old red bow tie. Break the rules. I'm here. But he had a tenor voice that was just amazing.
Oh no, and you've got a soprano voice that's amazing. And somehow, my dad can't sing at all, but I have a great soprano voice. I've had people compliment me on it for years.
Yeah.
But your brother's kids also cannot sing at all. So I guess, I wonder if it's a gene, so.
Ooh, that would be
Like
something
maybe
to
their
check.
mom had an effect on the fact that they just can't carry a tune in a bucket.
Yeah. I don't remember
You
Linda
can
ever
learn.
making music.
I started teaching my husband how to sing because he was terrible when I married him, and now he's not too bad. I wouldn't call him great, but he's not bad.
Yeah, but it's fun. He's funny.
I know he makes up songs and changes all the lyrics.
Yeah.
And that is the thing about how music moves us. It's just a part of everyone's life.
Yeah, I joined the Glee Club when I got to high school, and the teacher liked to put on operettas. And so I would be in operettas, singing. That is a big part. And then when I got out of high school, I started taking voice lessons.
Do you know the difference between an operetta and an opera?
I think, I'm going to say, I'd have to go back on my memory, but I believe it's you have dialogue.
Oh, okay. But it's still the same style of singing.
Not always,
Okay, so you did things like the Pirates of Penzance.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
And then you started taking voice lessons.
yes. And being, Chicken Little, I was taking voice lessons, and it came time for me to perform in front of some people, and I never showed up to my teacher ever again. I could not even imagine going into that group and singing. So I had a talent, but I also had other hang-ups.
And then you got mad at me that time in church when I had a solo and I burst into laughter and failed at the solo. You were mad at me.
I don't know. Maybe
Hypocrite.
I might not have been mad.
No, you gave me a hard time after that, as though I had done it on purpose. But, I've gotten that my whole life. People think my smile a lot of times is disrespectful, when in reality it's, what do you call it when you're covering for insecurity? It's just a reflex.
Yeah.
Like I smile out of nervousness and awkwardness.
Well, I know that now. It's like my dad thinking I was actually a flirt because I have an essence of flirting, and being told not to smile at people. Parents
I guess
make
you did
mistakes.
the same thing. Don't
Yes.
smile. Screw
Yes.
smiling.
Yes. I didn't do that
And
very
then
much because
you walk down the street and men go, "Why don't you smile?"
Yeah, and you have to know how many pictures of you that I have with that fabulous smile that you have. So I've changed my wicked ways, people. I love her. I love her about everything she does.
She does. In fact, if she had to choose between me and anyone, y'all better watch out.
Mm-hmm.
She adores me. I adore her too. So, but I don't imagine anyone's going to mess with my 80-year-old mother. Because if you do, you'll have to go through me and my husband.
And
we'll play music while we're doing
yes. And just so you know, I feel the same way about my son-in-law. Don't mess with him.
it. Okay, but he can take care of himself.
Well, not always.
He does not need you to protect him. He has made that clear many times.
I know. But I would shoot people in the leg. You know that.
Okay, I'm going to have to give y'all reference to what that means. There was this time where I can't even remember what my husband was thinking of doing, but I was saying, I don't want you to do this, and if you did this, I'd be very upset. And then my mom said, you could just shoot him in the leg to keep him from going to do this thing. And we both looked at her, and we're like, what in the world? Do you want to kill him? She's like, what? you just shoot them in the leg. Let me let you guys know who don't know. There are arteries in the leg, and you can bleed out. You don't just go around shooting people. It's not totally safe if you just pick a limb instead of center mass. So,
And well,
we
all
joked
know.
about it ever since then because we don't let Mom touch the guns. Let's
Well,
just
we
put it
all
that
know,
way.
yeah. I can't manage a gun.
And yeah, I don't think you ever could.
But yeah, I could. My dad taught me how to shoot a rifle, and I was going to go deer
What
hunting
had
with
you
him.
shoot it at?
We were out in the woods. We were
Mhm.
practicing.
What
But-
did you have targets?
Yeah.
Okay. How
And he
old
was
were
like-
you?
Oh, well, we lived in Cremor, so I was probably still preteen,
And he was going to teach you to go deer.
hunting with
Hunting.
him. And somewhere in there, he realized he'd never get a deer if I was along.
Exactly, because you'd be like shooting that gun in the air
I
to
know.
warn the deer.
Yes.
The difference between you and I on the hunting thing, and look, when I was a pre-teenager, I probably would have been exactly the same as you. I just love animals, but I also like to eat animals. And so when I got married, I really had a come to Jesus moment when I said to myself, if I'm not willing to put the meat on my plate, I shouldn't be eating meat. And so that's when I had him teach me how to shoot. And now I can take out a bunny with a headshot at 40 yards because I use a rifle with solid rounds, and I'm laughing because this is supposed to be about music. And there's probably people right now going, oh my God, what did I sign up for? And that's why we call this Beer Grilled Skinny. So if you have any comments, please comment and let us know what you think about any of the stuff that we said. And don't run away. We're crazy, but we're not scary.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
And here's to the tears in every moment together. We conquer our fears with dreams in our hearts and the world in our sight. We're beer grill skinny, ready